I stood at the edge of a kingdom, the weight of blood-soaked history on my shoulders. I was a widow with 2 children, an outcast in a world where power was measured by bloodlines and battlefields. But I would not remain a mere pawn in a game of thrones. I operated with my hands when even soap was a luxury, my fingers stained with the crimson of ambition. I have a secret to unveil, one that changed the fate of a nation forever. It began in the shadows, a love ignited amidst chaos. Edward IV, the future king, a man of great promise, chose me as Elizabeth Woodville, a widow of the Lancastrian enemy. My heart thundered against the confines of my chest. Could I dare to hope? They'll see me as a danger, a usurper. Am I merely a beautiful spectre to haunt a king's throne? This wasn't just love, it was a political earthquake. Marrying Edward in secret, I shook the very foundations of York's court, my beauty cloaked in whispers of witchcraft. As I became queen, the Woodville family rose with me, upstarts in a world of ancient lineage. The court embraced me with cold smiles and daggers hidden beneath silk gowns. They called us common folk, but ambition has no pedigree. I arranged marriages, formed alliances, and wielded power like a sword, but even the strongest blade can be dulled by betrayal. I had to navigate through every treacherous glance, every hushed whisper that threatened our very existence. When Edward died, a storm took shape. My sons, Edward V and Richard, imprisoned. They vanished into the very shadows I once walked among. What dark sorcery has claimed them? I will not let the crown curse my bloodline. I faced sorcery, treason, and whispers of wickedness. But I was more than a victim. I was a queen facing the tempest with a heart of steel. But that was nothing compared to what happened next. My daughter, Elizabeth, would marry Henry Tudor, uniting houses that had been drenched in blood. They may call me a witch, a usurper, but I will weave the fabric of this kingdom anew. Without a sword drawn, I understood that the greatest battles are fought not with weapons, but with cunning and resilience. With every alliance forged, every marriage arranged, I stepped further into the annals of history. Through charm, strategy, and resilience, I outlived kings and wars. I was not born to rule, but I bent history to my will. I became the mother of the Tudor dynasty, the woman who ended the war without lifting a sword. But it wasn't the crown I coveted. It was the love of my children, the echo of laughter in the halls of a united kingdom. My story is not just of blood and power, it is of the unyielding human spirit, a testament to the idea that anyone can shape their own destiny. I want you to think about what legacy we leave behind. In a world filled with chaos, can one woman's journey inspire others to take control of their own narrative? As I reflect on my life, I understand that life is a tapestry woven with threads of love, loss, and the fervor to rise above. If you found strength in my story, if you believe that hope can bloom in the darkest of times, then join me. Subscribe, and together we will explore more untold tales. Stories where courage defies the odds, bienheureux, and where love conquers even the fiercest storms. In the shadow of death, I found life, and I made it mine. Every tear I shed, every moment of despair only fueled my resolve to fight for my family and my legacy. As I moved through the courts of power, I gathered strength from the knowledge that I was more than a queen. I was a mother, a protector, and a survivor. My journey was not solitary. I carried the hopes and dreams of those who looked to me for guidance. In the quiet moments of reflection, I would sit by the flickering firelight, my children nestled by my side, sharing tales of bravery and resilience. I wanted them to understand that they too were part of a grand narrative, one that could change the course of history. My life was a canvas painted with hues of despair and triumph. I refused to become a mere footnote in the annals of time. Instead, I sought to pen my own story, a story where love could thrive amidst the cruelty of fate. I think of the lessons learned amid the chaos of the Wars of the Roses and how each twist and turn shaped my character. As my daughter Elizabeth prepared to marry Henry, I saw a flicker of hope reflected in her eyes. That union would not just cement a political alliance, it would forge a new future. I felt the weight of my ancestors upon me, guiding me through the darkened paths I had to tread. The legacy of the Woodville family was now intricately linked with that of the Tudors, and I knew that my struggles had not been in vain. But there was always a fear lurking in the shadows, a fear that history could repeat itself, that betrayal could come from those I loved most. I often wondered, could I stand still while someone screamed for help? Would I be brave enough to protect my children from the dangers that surrounded us? These questions haunted me, yet they also fueled my determination. Now, as I gaze back upon my life, I realize that the journey was more than a quest for power. It was about forging connections, nurturing loyalty, and standing tall amidst adversity. I had transformed from a widow into a queen who commanded respect and wielded influence. Through every trial, I learned to adapt, to strategize, and to fight with a heart full of love and courage. In the end, I did not just survive, I triumphed. I shaped a destiny that echoed through the centuries. My legacy would be carried forth by my children who stood united, a symbol of hope for a fractured kingdom. The future was not just a distant promise, it was a reality I had forged with my own hands. As the sun sets on my story, I invite you to carry this message forward, that within every heart lies the power to rise, to love, and to change the course of history. If my tale has resonated with you, if it has ignited a spark of courage within, then let us embark on this journey together. Subscribe to uncover more stories of resilience and strength, where the human spirit shines even in the face of darkness. And remember, it is not just the crown that defines us, it is the love we share, the battles we fight, and the legacies we leave behind that truly matter. In the heart of adversity, I discovered allies in the most unexpected corners. There were whispers of dissent amidst the court, as factions rose and fell like the tides. I navigated this treacherous landscape with the finesse of a skilled dancer, adapting my steps to the rhythm of survival. My beauty, once a tool of admiration, became a weapon sharpened by the sharp tongues of courtiers who sought to undermine me. I learned to wield it wisely, knowing that charm could open doors as effectively as a strong arm could close them. As I arranged strategic marriages for my daughters, I understood that each union could redefine the fate of our family. I felt the weight of responsibility on my shoulders, a burden that ignited my resolve. I was not merely marrying off daughters, I was forging alliances that would protect our lineage, ensuring our place in the tapestry of history. I would ensure that my children would not be mere pawns in someone else's game. But amidst the political intrigue, there were moments of vulnerability that threatened to break me. The laughter of my children echoed in the halls, but the shadows of the tower loomed large. I replayed the day when I lost my sons, clinging to the hope that they would return. What had happened to them? Were they safe, hidden away from the world, or were they victims of the very power struggles I was fighting? Each passing day turned my sorrow into a silent scream. If I could just reach them, warn them of the dangers lurking in the shadows, my heart would know peace. Yet, in the throes of my desperation, I found strength. I became a mother lioness, fierce and unyielding, determined to protect my remaining children at all costs. My daughter Elizabeth would be my salvation, the hope for a grand alliance that could heal the rifts of the past. The day arrived when Elizabeth was to be wed to Henry Tudor. As I stood in the grand hall, adorned with flowers and silks, I felt the weight of history pressing upon me. This union was not simply a celebration, it was a turning point, a moment that would shift the very foundations of England. I watched as my daughter approached her groom, the light in her eyes shining brighter than any jewel. With every step she took, I felt the echoes of our family's struggles reverberating through time. I thought of my ancestors who had fought for their place, who had bled for their beliefs. This was our moment. I grasped the arms of the chair beside me, my knuckles white with tension. Would this marriage heal the wounds of the past? Would it forge a new path, one where bloodlines and ideologies would no longer dictate our fates? As the vows were exchanged, I saw the hope of a new era dawning before me. My heart swelled with pride, yet beneath that pride lurked a fear that the past could rise again, that the ghosts of our family's history would haunt us. But as I looked upon Elizabeth, I realized that she was not just my daughter. She was a symbol of resilience, a bridge that connected our tumultuous past with a promising future. In the weeks that followed, I worked tirelessly to ensure our family's position in the new order. I navigated the complexities of the court with the deftness of a seasoned player, crafting alliances, quelling dissenters, and securing the loyalty of those around me. Every conversation was a chess match, every gesture weighted with meaning. I learned to read the intentions behind smiles and laughter, to discern threats hidden behind polite facades. My life had become a delicate balance of power and vulnerability, of strength and fear. I was a queen, but I was also a mother, and those two roles often collided violently within me. I recalled the moments of warmth, the times when I would wrap my arms around my children and forget the burdens that weighed heavily on my heart. But those moments were fleeting, overshadowed by the reality of our fragile existence. The shadow of the tower lingered in my mind, reminding me of the precariousness of life at court. I whispered prayers for my lost sons, hoping against hope that their spirits were at peace. I would not allow their absence to define our future. Instead, I channeled my grief into resolve, determined to create a legacy that honored their memory. As the years unfolded, the political landscape shifted with unrelenting ferocity. Friendships turned to rivalries, alliances frayed under the pressure of ambition, and I found myself at the epicenter of it all. Yet, amid the chaos, I discovered the art of survival. I learned to embrace uncertainty, to find beauty in the fleeting moments of joy. I forged friendships with those who understood the delicate dance of power, women who, like me, navigated the treacherous waters of ambition while raising families. We became allies, sharing our stories, our strategies, and our hopes for a future where our children could thrive unburdened by the weight of lineage. As time wore on, I began to understand the true nature of power. It was not merely a crown worn upon the head or a title bestowed upon one's name. It was the ability to influence, to inspire, and to create lasting change. I had witnessed the rise and fall of countless lords and ladies, their fates dictated by their choices and the choices of those around them. I learned that strength lay not only in might, but in vulnerability. I embraced the softness within me, the tenderness that came from nurturing my children, from loving fiercely and unconditionally. It was this love that fortified my resolve, that ignited the fire within me to fight for a future that would honor not only my lineage, but the generations that would come after. In the twilight of my life, I reflected upon the journey I had undertaken, the trials and triumphs that had shaped me into the woman I had become. I had risen from widowhood to become a queen, a mother who had navigated the complexities of court life and emerged not just intact, but stronger than ever. As I looked upon my family gathered around me, I felt a profound sense of gratitude. We had weathered storms together, navigating the tempestuous seas of power, loss, love, and betrayal. My legacy would not be defined by titles or bloodlines. It would be measured by the love we shared and the strength we found in each other. The tale of Elizabeth Woodville is not merely a story of ambition or a quest for power. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, love can illuminate the path forward. My journey serves as an invitation to embrace the complexities of life, to cherish the connections we forge, and to wield our influence with compassion and courage. And so, as I draw the final curtain on my story, I leave you with this thought. The greatest power resides not in titles or thrones, but in the ability to inspire change, to foster love, and to create a legacy that transcends time. If my journey resonates with you, if you believe in the power of resilience, then let us continue this journey together. Subscribe to explore more stories of strength, where the human spirit prevails against insurmountable odds, and where hope shines brightly, even in the darkest of nights. In every heartbeat, I learned that history is not merely written by the victors, but by those who dare to live authentically, to love deeply, and to fight for a future that reflects our greatest ideals. This is my legacy, and I invite you to become part of it.